Celebrating Diversity and Promoting Social and Emotional Development by Rachel McAfee. The first thing we'll discuss is implementing classroom management and positive behavior supports in the classroom. What can teachers do to encourage appropriate behaviors in the classroom? Before we can discuss how to implement classroom management, we should discuss what classroom management is. Many teachers believe that classroom management means to discipline students after displaying inappropriate behaviors. This is not necessarily true. While that's included, you should think of classroom management as a way to establish a classroom environment that promotes desirable behaviors. So instead of disciplining the student after, you're trying to prevent these behaviors from happening. What should be included in my classroom management plan? You should include classroom rules and expectations, because when students know what is expected of them, they're more likely to follow the rules. What you should include is, when is it acceptable to talk with peers? What should their voice level be? When should they be able to talk? When is it acceptable to move around the classroom? Should they be able to sharpen their pencil, go to the restroom, or get a drink? How are students expected to move from the classroom to other places around the building? Should you have a line order? What should their voice level be? How should they stand in the hallway? How should students behave during group work, whole group instruction, or independent learning? What should their voice level be? Where should they be? And what should they be doing during that time? When and how should assignments be submitted? Do you have a tray? Should assignments be checked before they're submitted? What should students do if they have conflicts with other students? Should they work it out by themselves, or should they come to you first? Tips for establishing rules for the classroom. Let students help in selecting rules. If students have input in selecting the rules, they're more likely to follow them. Select the fewest number of rules possible. If you have a whole lot of rules, that gives students more opportunity to break the rules. Select rules that are enforceable and select rules that are reasonable. Choose consistent consequences for violated rules. Make sure consequences apply to all students and they happen every time the rules are violated. Have students evaluate their behavior in relationship to the rules. Encouraging appropriate behavior. When students demonstrate appropriate behavior, recognize it. Be sincere and be specific. So instead of saying, "Good job," you could say, "I really like how you stayed quiet and you sat at your seat waiting for instructions." Use reinforcers or tokens to encourage positive behavior. Positive feedback and tangible rewards are considered reinforcers. Tangible rewards are like materials, like you could do a prize box. There's point systems. In every class I've been in, we had a point system. Last year, the kindergarten room I was in did Class Dojo, where students earn points for good behavior, and once they reach a certain amount, they get a prize. In the classroom I'm in now, we use golden tickets, and the person with the most golden tickets gets to pick a fun Friday activity. Change inappropriate behavior. To change an inappropriate behavior, you need to teach a new behavior to replace the other. How should they respond instead? No power struggles. Don't get an I win or you win situation. Do not bother with pet peeves. Only address the interfering behaviors. So don't get a student in trouble for something that just bugs you. Address things that interfere with their learning or someone else's learning. Do not take things that students say or do personally. When students are angry, they try to make you angry. They want someone else to feel that the way they do, and you should not take that personally. What is positive behavior support, PBS? PBS is the application of behavior management in the school setting with supports to reduce problem behaviors and develop appropriate behaviors. Behavior is a form of communication. So a lot of behaviors that you see students exhibiting is because they need something to change and they don't know how to express that. This involves observing the circumstances and the purpose of problem behaviors. A form of positive behavior support is applied behavior analysis, where you identify observable behaviors and manipulate the antecedent, which is the causing event or what happened before, and the consequences, which is what happens after the behavior, to change the behaviors. Number one, you should describe the target behavior specifically. What exactly did the child do? So instead of saying the child was upset, you say that the child threw something across the room. Measure target behaviors. There's different ways to measure. There's event sampling, which is how many times the behavior occurred in a designated amount of time. Duration sampling, which is how long the behavior occurred. And interval sampling, if the other two do not work. This observes whether the behavior occurred during a specific interval of time. So, like if something occurred at recess. Establish goals and treatment interventions. You should determine the frequency and the duration of the behavior, what should be expected of the student. And the goals and treatment interventions are more effective when the child is included in the goal planning. What we'll talk about next is arranging the instructional environment. How can teachers organize instructional groups to promote learning and behavior? There's large group instruction, which is 6 or more students, and this is used when the goal of the instruction is similar for all students. It's useful when the teacher is providing a model. So if you're modeling how to do a math problem, large group instruction is a good way to do that. Used when the teacher is providing instruction or students and the teacher are discussing. So if you're having a group discussion where all the students are involved, large group instruction is a way to have everyone involved. This gives the teacher less opportunity for corrective or positive feedback. So it's a lot harder to give the student direct feedback. Promoting positive behavior. Establish guidelines for appropriate responding. Should the child raise their hand? Should they just be able to call out? Provide opportunities for group and individual responses. Make sure everyone has a chance to respond. And frequently tell students what you like about their behavior. There's also small group instruction, which is useful for specific instruction to targeted students. And this allows the teacher to give specific feedback and help them if they're not quite getting it. You can individualize instruction to meet the group needs or the needs of students in the group. And generally, small group instruction occurs when other students are doing independent or cooperative learning. A way to promote positive behavior during small group instruction is establish and review expectations frequently. Students are provided work that they can do. It has to be on a level that they can do it or they can be helped to do it. And allow students to practice with feedback that keeps them motivated. There's one-to-one instruction, which is the teacher working with an individual student, and it allows the teacher to provide intensive instruction of what the child needs. It's recommended for students with learning and behavioral problems to get at least a little bit one-to-one instruction, and all other students must be engaged in another learning method like independent or cooperative learning. Promoting positive behavior during one-to-one instruction is establish and review routines and expectations of the students. Provide feedback and encouragement to the student that you're working with, and align instruction to the student's learning needs. There's independent learning, where the students are working by themselves to practice skills that they have already received instruction. The assignment should be ones that they can do by themselves or with very little teacher guidance. To promote positive behavior during this time is to establish expectations for the students. What should they be doing? How loud should they be talking? And have a way for students to let you know if they have a question. In classrooms that I've worked in, they did 3 before me, so they asked 3 students before asking the teacher. And another one I've heard of is question circle, where if the student has a question and nobody can answer their question, they can go stand in a specific circle on the floor, and that lets the teacher visually know that they have a question. And there's also a question card, where they put a question card in their slot so the teacher knows that they have a question. There's cooperative learning. The requirements for it to be cooperative instead of small group is its interdependence. The different student groups have to be working by themselves. Collaborative skills, where all the skills are working together, all the students are working together. Individual accountability, each student has their job and they should all be working together. There's group processing, where the students are working together and coming up with a process to find the answers. This is typically a group project or a jigsaw format, where each student has a job and they work together to finish the assignment. To promote positive behavior during this time, Establish guidelines for group interactions. Evaluate individual and group performance. Instead of just the end product, you should look at how the other students contributed. Ensure all group members take responsibility. All students should contribute. And have a way for group members to help each other and evaluate each other. And then there's peer teaching, where one student has learned the targeted skill and assist another student. The teacher shows these students how to teach each other. To promote positive behavior, should establish expectations, demonstrate how the students should speak to each other, and allow students the opportunity to be both tutor and tutee. Even if you have a student that struggles, you can teach them how to teach someone something. Strategies to assist students with social interactions. What can a teacher do to make social interactions with peers easier? Promoting social interactions among students. There are several things that a teacher can do to help students get the opportunity and have more practice interacting with other students. Provide opportunities for students to work in small groups. This allows students to work with different groups and to have one-on-one interaction with several students. Stress that all students are valuable and have something to contribute. Every student has something that they contribute to the classroom. If you come in with a positive and encouraging behavior and teach acceptance, then the students are going to be more prone to that. Allow students to participate in decision making. Encourage students to participate in extracurricular activities. This gives them the chance to meet students that have something in common with them. Additional strategies to promote social interactions. Group students in small groups and pairings during activities. Ask students who are lonely who they like in the class and let them sit by them. This gives them the chance to make new friends. Take a moment between classes to speak with students and show that you care. I believe that this is very important, that students should be aware that you care about them and that someone is in their corner, because a lot of them don't have that at home. Provide students with the chance to engage in less structured time. So let them play a game, encourage them to play with each other outside, have a few fun times during the day where they get to just talk or play a game together. Implementing evidence-based strategies, using FAST with a group of students. For my evidence-based strategy, I chose FAST. So first we'll discuss what is FAST. It teaches students to consider problems and solutions carefully before acting. It's considered useful with second grade to fourth grade. So F stands for freeze and think. So the student stops and thinks about what the problem is. A is for alternatives. The students think of different solutions that they could find to the problem, like tell the teacher or talk to the student, or different solutions. S is solution evaluation. So they think about the solutions and the consequences of the solutions. What would happen if they chose that one? And once they find a solution that they feel is the best, they would try it. Implementing FAST with my students. I worked with 3 fourth grade students that had learning and behavioral problems, and I sat down with them and I talked to them about the FAST method. And we practiced the method by discussing each step and then practicing it with scenarios. And I received feedback from them about what they thought about the FAST method at the ending. The problems that I had was that I didn't have access to a whole classroom. And the students that I did get to work with, I'd only worked with one of them previously. Also, we were in the special education room, and there was another student in there that was having a problem, so it was very distracting to the students that I was working with. Did the FAST strategy impact the students? In the beginning, I didn't receive very good feedback or solutions from the students. One of them had violent solutions. Another one just struggled to pay attention. The third one did a very great job, and he paid attention the whole time. As we kept going, the other ones started getting more involved, and they did a lot better. I thought that they believed that they could use it in their classroom.